When the James Bond franchise returned after 6 years away from the big screen with Pierce Brosnan now in the title role in 1995's Goldeneye, a slew of new product placement from BMW, Ericsson and Omega came with it. The Omega deal continues to this day, and as a result, a whole generation of Bond fans associate the MI6 agent with Omega watches, full stop.
You know, former SAS types with easy smiles and expensive watches. Rolex?
Omega.
Beautiful.
It wasn't always this way, of course. Sean Connery's Bond sported a range of Rolexes as well as a Breitling and a Gruen in his films. George Lazenby's Bond wore a Rolex in his sole outing. Roger Moore had a number of Rolexes, a Pulsar and many Seikos, while Timothy Dalton wore Tag Heuer and Rolex in his 2 films. Notably, none of the first 4 Bond actors wore Omega, despite it being an excellent and well-known heritage brand, even at the time of Connery's films. So, how has the brand come to be synonymous with the franchise today? It all starts with Goldeneye, in which Pierce Brosnan is wearing an Omega Seamaster Professional 300 meters reference 254180. Non-watch people might not realise this, but that's actually a Quartz watch. On one hand, eminently suitable for the life of a secret agent, keeping excellent time and being able to take bigger hits than a mechanical movement. But on the other hand, not what you'd expect from someone with Bond's taste to be wearing. Appropriately, Brosnan then wore the automatic version of the same watch, reference number 253180, in his next 3 films. The only real difference though, aside from the movement of course, was an extra line of text reading chronometer at the 6 o'clock position on the dial. When Daniel Craig took over the Bond role, you can see him sporting an Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean, reference 29005091, on a rubber strap at the start of the film. This was a new watch in Omega's catalogue at the time, and while Craig's Bond does don the smaller and more classic Seamaster of his predecessor later in the film, even that's had an upgrade, and the reference 222080 is boasting a slightly different dial and a coaxial movement ticking away inside too. So the first Craig film is really the end of an era, as the 300-meter diver changed face and was phased out, with Planet Ocean and Aquaterra models from Omega taking precedence in Craig's later films. So at this point you might be able to see where this video is going. I think the quintessential Bond watch, and the most affordable at this point in time, that's an important part of the equation too, is the 300-meter diver as worn in all the Brosnan films, either as reference 254180 or 253180. With its 41mm diameter, lug-to-lug of 47mm and a height of just 12mm, the watch wears large enough for guys with big wrists, but isn't overly large like, say, the Planet Ocean in that first Craig film, which is a 45mm watch, plus some change, and is just too big for many wrists. Combine those crowd-pleasing measurements with an extremely comfortable bracelet, genuinely the most comfortable bracelet I've ever experienced on a watch, and the fact that good examples of the watch can still be found for a couple of $1,000 US, the Omega Seamaster 300M Diver is an absolute no-brainer to buy. You might even consider buying a well-used model from Japan, where, aside from the fact the Japanese take extremely good care of their personal items, even factoring in a full service from your favourite local watchmaker or even Omega itself, you'd still be coming out of the deal with an absolutely brilliant watch on every level, with a great film heritage, for not a lot of money, relative to buying a modern 300M diver with the coaxial movement, or any of the other Bond watches like those from the Planet Ocean or Aquaterra ranges. So there you have it, just a little video I've wanted to dash off for a while, and with the 30th anniversary of the Quartz model falling this year, 2023, it seemed as good a time as any to do my part to spread the word that if you want a Bond watch worn across multiple films with loads of screen time that still looks amazing and is still wildly affordable in general, let alone versus what a Rolex Submariner will cost you these days, the reference 254180 or 253180 are the start, the middle, and the end of the discussion, all in my opinion, of course, I think they're awesome.